Hey there, what's up, YouTube? It's Interdimensional here, and I hope you're ready for a new dawn, the new quadrant in EVE Online. Today, we're checking out the AEGIS Capital Ship Security Facility, a new exploration site in this quadrant, and let's just get into it because it's a doozy. One thing to note that before we get into this, if you do get value out of this content, please hit that like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube good algorithm stuff. It really does help out. And what we're going to be doing here is I went on Twitch earlier today to do a bunch of these sites. We did a bunch of learning and knowledge. I'm just going to go ahead and replay one of the sites that we did, and I'll do a little talk over, voiceover to get you all the information that you need. All right, so let's dive in. So here we are jumping into things. We have the AEGIS Capital Ship Secure Facility. And what this is going to be a celestial beacon. So it's a little bit of a bugged system right now. And if you fly around in low sec, you'll notice that you have these celestial beacons on your overview. And what those are is actually these new exploration sites. I do kind of expect that they will be fixed in the future. However, for the time being, that's what you're looking out for. No scanning, no looking for combat signatures on your probe scanner. You don't need to do any of that crap. All you got to do is fly around low sec and look for the celestial beacons, and that's these sites that you're going to be running. Anyways, once you do warp down onto the beacon, you actually go to a 50-kilometer away beacon to the acceleration gate, and so you just kind of fly up to the acceleration gate and you take it. Again, this is kind of low sec, so do be a little bit safe here. People can camp and murder you before you even start to do the site, but realistically, they're probably not going to, just because you're not going to have a whole lot of value, as you'll see here in the future. Anyways, you get onto the site here, and the first thing that you need to notice is that there are two acceleration gates, a close and a far one. There's also these new things called decloaking towers. So we can see they're actually called AEGIS security scanners and deep security scanners. And what they do is that if you ever get within about 55, a little less than 55 kilometers away from the security scanners, you will get decloaked. And then it's about 100 kilometers for the deep scanners. So anyways, you avoid those deep core scanners, and you go to this first gate and you take it. And then you go into what we're going to be calling the second room here. The second room is quite easy. It is just basically 200 kilometers long, and halfway between that distance is a encrypted key storage container. This is a data hack. All you need is a data analyzer for the entirety of this site. So you're just going to walk up to this key storage facility and hack it to get the key. So something to note is that this room does have some of those mines. You might be familiar with these if you've ran into the SCC sites. Basically, they are a proximity mine. If you go too close to them, they will deal either, in this case, 4,000 or 40,000 damage to your ship, depending on which kind of mine you run into. If you do want to actually check, you can show info on the specific mines. There's a little code at the bottom. Anything with a code that has a number 10 in it will do 4,000. Anything with 100 will do the 40,000. So if you're just running around in an exploration frigate, it's probably not a good idea to run into any mines because you will likely die to any and all of them. But if you can manage to do the site in something larger like a cruiser, maybe a T3C, which I kind of feel like might be the best way to run them in the future. We'll kind of have to figure that out. But at that point, you might want to consider running into some mines just to make things a little bit quicker. In this room, it doesn't really matter at all, but you'll see what I mean in the future here, and it's pretty hilarious. Anyways, you go ahead and hack this can. It is a red hack, just a standard red hack, and you can fail it as many times as you want. Nothing bad happens, so you just keep on going and going and going until you get it, and then you will eventually get the loot, which is a key to activate that further away gate in the first room. It's called the AEGIS coded key, and then there's like some letters after it, but those letters are always the same. It's not like a site specific key or anything. It's just a generic key for this site, if that makes sense. So something that might happen is that if you are running in a ship that can run just this first room, but not the third room, which again, we'll see when we get to the third room, then you might want to just pop into these sites really quick, go get that key, and maybe make some contracts for a little bit of extra ISK out of the whole thing. Other things to note is that when you go into the first room, that gate is locked for one person, so only one person in the entire site at any given time. So basically, as soon as you get through that first gate, you are free and clear of any low sec problems. So anyways, here we are just slow boating to the further away acceleration gate, which will bring us back into the first room. And then what you want to do is when you get into the first room or the third room is, if possible, you want to try and cloak up immediately. That said, you do land close to a beacon, sometimes closer than 2,000 kilometers away or 2,000 meters away, in which case you cannot cloak. In the first room, it doesn't particularly matter. You just kind of slow boat or hit your microwave drive, any kind of prop mod to get away from that beacon, and then hit your cloak as soon as you can. The reason being is there are Gunstars in this first room. As you can see, these all little red turrets around the area, those are Gunstars. They will lock you in about 10 seconds after being cloaked. They will instantly lock you and instantly explode you. They do a whole lot of damage. I am unaware if you can tank them in any cruiser, whether that be like a T3C or maybe even a HIC. But that is going to be for some future testing. It might be possible, but for the meantime, we are just using a Covop ship. And what we're actually doing here is a little trick with Covop ships is because you are uncloaking and then recloaking, you are resetting the time it takes for them to like target you. And during your uncloak phase, you can actually hit a pulse of your prop mod, in our case, a micro warp drive. And that just gets us to this further gate a little quicker. This is a little bit dangerous though, because if you do get decloaked by one of the sentry beacons, then you might be a little bit weird on your timing for your recloak activation delay. And something that is very important to note is that covert op ships have a 5-second. It does count bombers as well, but I wouldn't recommend running this site in a bomber. And then T3Cs also have that 5-second. However, the Astero, not a covert op ship, has a 10-second reactivation delay. So it might be particularly dangerous to run this in a Astero, because if you do get accidentally decloaked, you have less leeway time to make yourself not explode. So for that reason, I do definitely recommend something like specifically a covert op ship or a T3C that has that lower reactivation delay on the cloak. Anyways, here we're getting into the third room, the final room of the site, the big shebang of the site. And what this room is a crap ton of mines. Again, you do get close to the beacon here, and you do want to try and cloak up. However, maybe you don't. And so the reason is there is basically the police, the 5-0, the Fuzz are in a corner of this room in the back right. And if you are uncloaked sort of instantly, it's a little bit buggy again, that if you are uncloaked for a not long time or maybe forever, again, it's buggy, but they will target you instantly and they will make it so that you can't recloak, and they will start chasing you down like the police does. And anyways, they do quite a lot of damage if they get close to you, probably like within 50k or something. And the real problem here is that if you warp out of the site at this point, because you have used a key to get into this room, it basically borks the whole site and you will no longer be able to finish the site. So once you are in this third room, you got one shot, one opportunity to get the final can. There is only one can with the goodies in it. There is also a like power generator object near the initial spawn of the police. I haven't been able to successfully interact with that power generator at all yet. It may contain more loot or secrets to the site, or it may not. It's hard to say at this point. We are still going to do some more testing in it. But anyways, what we know now and what I kind of assume is the entirety of the site is there is this one can on the opposite side of the room. And so basically what we are doing here is avoiding all of these mines and also getting far away from all of these decloaking beacons. You can kind of see the sticks floating around in space everywhere. However, there is a pretty easy path, pretty much just like straight up and then around some bubbles, and then you can come back down. If you are cloaked, you can kind of bob and weave out in and outside of the range of the security scanners. However, you don't actually need to be cloaked, and it's probably optimal to not be cloaked. So once you start into the room, if you have like a micro warp drive or something, or if you're just in a fast ship, you can just use your micro warp drive and go up over the bubbles and back down under the bubbles and pack the container and get out of there. The eating comp ships are pretty slow and start pretty far away. So as long as you're fast enough, you can get to the can before they're in any kind of optimal range. You hack it quickly and you get out with your loot. So speaking of the loot, what is it? Well, I'm here to tell you, it's shitty. It's incredibly shitty. It's some of the shittiest loot we've ever seen for a site. What it is currently is a single electro neural signaler. That's right, you heard me right. Just a one single electro neural signaler. I personally believe that this is very bugged, and that you should get more or different loot in these sites. The estimated value on one of these things is probably like 5 million, and with the introduction of these sites, it's going to crash incredibly hard. I'd be surprised if you could even get like 1 million for it. You could previously get them always 100% spawn rate in the top can of a low sec covert ghost site is where these specific items drop. So they weren't really difficult or hard to get or anything. And because they were always guaranteed in a covert site, and because that top can never explodes either, they're quite easy to get. And doing this whole site, everything that's involved for just one of these is absolutely abysmal. So again, I do think it is bugged. I do think it will be fixed in the future, or I hope, or maybe you'll get some more, or maybe we just haven't figured out everything about this site yet. Who's really to know or say? But right now, I 100% don't recommend running this site. Anyways, we're hacking this last can here. Again, the site kind of bugged for this run, and the police aren't chasing us at all. They've never locked us, even though we have been cloaked for many, many seconds. And something to note is that the last hack there is actually one of the super hard red cans. So the core node has 120 health, and everything else is just super beefed up as well. I imagine you can fail it as many times as you want. That said, I haven't done that. So maybe you want to give it a shot and just keep failing that can. We'll probably try that out in the future here. But anyways, once you do successfully hack that can, all of the police go running home. Their donuts are calling, and the site is basically clear for you to play around in. I did try and go to the power facility, but with this ship, our fitting, we didn't have any way to interact with it. We didn't have any weapons or salvagers or really any way to particularly do anything with it. So maybe you could hack the can and then go blow up this power facility. I don't see anything else that would do anything on this site. But, give it a go, see what you can make happen. Other things to note at the end of the site is that's about it. I think we pretty much covered it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, hit them up in the comments. I will do my best to answer them as quick as possible. We are going to be doing some more research and just running these sites and basically waiting for I do want to see what you can do with a T3C in these sites. But other than that, we're kind of just waiting for like some new patch notes to make them not suck terribly. So yeah, 100% drop rate of the electroneural signalers. A few last things I do want to say is that they did drop another exploration site, a Pochman specific exploration site. It is a similar kind of situation, and that the sites seem incredibly lackluster, or basically, again, they show up as just celestial beacons, not anything to scan or anything. And this is for the Pochman stuff that we're talking about. just celestial beacons. You warp to them. You warp to a through an acceleration gate. There's a room with some salvage drones that do nothing apparently, and then there you warp to another gate, and then there's the third and final room, which you go explode with some damage, a little harvestable nest structure, and then once you blow that up, you salvage it. And you get a enhanced electroneural signaler. So that is slightly different than the electroneural signaler. It is for super capital production, whereas this one is for capital production. And the enhanced electroneural signaler is fairly cheap as well, and that drops from specifically nullsec and wormhole covert ghost sites. So I think that's about it. If you do want to hang out, I do stream on Twitch generally every weekday. We do exploration-based content, learning all the good stuff. We're going to be definitely diving in to a lot of detail for this new dawn. It's going to be really exciting and fun. I am still very hopeful for this patch and quadrant, so check us out. And also, lastly, if you like the video, give it a like, sub, all that stuff, and have a great day.